What's going on, gang? It's Gothalion. Welcome back to Destiny. Today we're going to take a look at something that's really important to Destiny, and that's the individual stats that are shown on armor pieces. Destiny being a loot-driven game, of course each individual piece of armor should have varying stats, and we're going to go over exactly what each stat means. First, we're going to take a look at defense. Each piece of headgear, gloves, leggings, and chest pieces will all have a defense stat. Defense is pretty much set in game to decide the damage reduction done by enemies to you. I personally believe that this does affect damage done in both PvE and PvP, though in PvP, the damage reduction that is brought along by being higher level is supposed to be done away with, though I do believe that the defense stat and all stat bonuses within armor do go into effect inside player versus player content. Next, we're going to talk about the light stat. Now, light is found on higher level gear, mostly legendaries, and you can see it a lot in the vendors, whether it be from the Crucible or the Vanguards. Light basically increases your character's level. Now, while I did not get to use this in the alpha, it explains it in the tooltip as being a stat that increases your character's level so that you could do damage to enemies that are of higher level than you. Basically, in Destiny, like most MMOs and looter shooters to date, if an enemy is a much higher level than you, there is an inherent damage reduction, going to the point where you will end up doing 1 damage if the enemy is high enough level above you. Light will take your character's max level and raise it so you could do damage against these enemies. The next stat we're going to look at is Discipline. Discipline is a stat that reduces the cooldown on your grenade ability, whether it be the Titans like Flashbang Grenade or the Warlocks like little Nova Bomb Grenade. Grenades are infinite in this game, but each time a grenade is used, it restarts a cooldown. Pretty much everything has a cooldown. There's melee override cooldowns, there's grenade cooldowns, and then there's your super ability cooldown. Discipline will reduce your cooldown on your grenades. The next stat is Strength. Strength is going to reduce the cooldown on your melee override. Melee override on Hunters is for at least the subclass that we've seen, is a knife throw, and the Titan, he has like a shock punch that does more damage to an enemy, and then the Warlock has a punch that he will actually absorb the enemy, and that will end up reducing his grenade cooldown. So pairing a Warlock with Strength is pretty cool, because then you can get into this whole thing where your melee override is sped up, and then you can bring down the cooldown of your grenade with ease. The last stat we're going to take a look at is Intellect. Intellect, I believe, is one of the better stats you could find, but that's because it goes into builds that I enjoy. Intellect will lower the cooldown, or rather increase the cooldown rate of your super attack. Out of all the stat bonuses, I did find 3 of them to work in a particular manner. That's going to be Discipline, Strength, and Intellect. Here's how they work, or at least how they worked in the alpha. Every level you are, it will add 10 points necessary to reach 100% or to double your regen rate. So let's say you are level 3. You will then have a 30-point max to reach that 100% recharge rate or regen rate or speed up for your cooldown. It will be at 30 points. So let's say you are level 3 and you find a piece of gear that has it probably won't, but let's just say for the sake of science, you find a piece of gear that has 15 intellect on it. If you find a piece of gear that has 15 intellect and you are level 3, that means that cap will be at 30 and you'll have the 15 points, so that will speed up your cooldown by 50% because 15 is 50% of 30. But once you click over to level 4, the top will go up by 10 points, and the top you will need to hit is 40 to hit 100. So we'll be at 40 points, but we'll still have our piece of gear that's level that has 15 points in it. So then you would only have a speed up of 38% or 37.5%, but the game does seem to like to round up. This is really the best explanation I can give of how these point values work. In the alpha, it was indicative that every level you went up, it added another 10 points onto that cap, theoretically making your gear not as effective and not speed up your cooldowns as much as you're going along, and it sort of drives that need to find better gear. I believe that this is the equation they use, at least for discipline, intellect, and strength. I did not get to use anything that has light on it, so I don't know how that equation is going to work, but that's how it works. And I even took a piece of gear at 6 and leveled up to 7, and it all checked out. So it seems like if you take your max level, multiply it by 10, and then divide the number of intellect, strength, or discipline you have total by that skill number. So let's say we're 20, and we multiply it by 10, we have 200, and you have 50 intellect, you'll divide 50 by 200, and that is the percent at which your cooldown rate will be sped up. If this is at all confusing, please leave me a little note in the comment section below, and I'll try to explain it better. So yeah, guys, this has been a brief introduction onto how skills work off of armor inside Destiny. I will be having a series coming out that shows off all of the rank 1 pieces of armor from the Crucible and Vanguard factions. I will also have videos on my channel of how to grind faction rank and exactly what faction rank does for you. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all back in Destiny.